Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faris Hafizuddin bin Rusli, and this time we will be presenting our final year project, which is case study assessing the visual defects on limestone buildings in Malacca. So therefore, I would like to introduce my group members, which is Indra Putra Faizal and Muhammad Haikal bin Honan. We will start with chapter 1, problem statement. We believe that there is a lack of study about the condition of buildings built using limestone in Malacca, and we are sure that without a proper analysis and inspection, all limestone buildings might be a safety risk or might simply fall out of favor against the modern world. So a case study is necessary to clarify the criteria for choosing limestone as the building material to make best use of new limestone. In addition, it is also to find the path to the most ideal way to conserve and maintain the old limestone building, ensuring that there will not be a liability and a damage risk upon the economic sector and urban planning sector of the city. The study is also necessary to evaluate how would this old limestone building fare under today's and future environmental challenges. Our objective for this case study is to investigate characteristics of limestone in building construction. Second, to find visual defects in old limestone buildings in Malacca. And third, to compare the visual defects between limestone and concrete building. Our case study revolves around buildings in Malacca during fieldwork and also involve concrete buildings and limestone buildings. Malacca is known to have many old buildings and are believed to have limestone as one of their main composition in building infrastructure. The case study is also involved in finding a way to preserve and maintain the conditions of old limestone building in Malacca. And we are expected to observe and record the visual defects of limestone and concrete in building construction. We also expect to obtain the difference in limestone building and concrete building. And with the data, we expect to enlighten ourselves on the characteristic of limestone and ways to preserve aged limestone structure and its application on modern day usage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I will present about our literature review. Firstly, I will explain what is limestone. Limestone is a naturally occurring mineral consists primarily of calcium carbonate, and it is usually found in color gray, white, yellow, or brown. It is a soft stone with a rating of 2 to 4 on the known hardness scale, and it can be a quite dense stone. It can withstand up to 180 megapascal of pressure. So, what is the usage for limestone? Limestone has been used for mainly in the construction scene, construction industry. In construction, it has been used as an aggregate. It has been used as a component in quicklime and cement, and it has been made to make bricks. It is also has been used in agriculture as a fertilizer. Now let's talk about the brief history of development of limestone. Limestone was likely found as a byproduct of cooking, and the earliest recorded use of limestone in construction is in the ancient city of Levant as an adhesive for cheap stones. And limestone is used for constructing the Giza pyramid in 6000 BC, and by 1000 BC, limestone is used widely in ancient civilization as a construction materials in many major civilizations in this world. Many major ancient civilizations such as the Greeks, the Romans, the Mayans, the Mongol Indians, and many more. And the Appian Way, which was built by the Romans, was also built using Hairuddin lime, and lime also has been used in medieval England as a binder for large stone structures. And in the year 1400, limestone and lime were widely used in construction in Europe. And in 1834, Louis Vuitton has coined the term hydraulic lime. And after this, the usage of limestone in construction declined because of the development of the Portland cement. So let's move on to the different defects in limestone Visial. Firstly, we have decay pattern, which is what happens to limestone when it is exposed to wind, sunlight, and rain, particularly acid rain, that causes the limestone to break. And acid rain decays limestone by creating gypsum crust on limestone that need to be washed by the rain. And next we have crystallization. Crystallization occurs when salt in solution pass and enter pores of limestone. And when the salts enter the limestone, the salts will exert pressure and stress by their crystallization in pores. Next, we have limestone runoff. The reaction between acid rain and calcium carbonate in limestone forms soluble salt deposit on the limestone walls, and as the salt crystallizes, the limestone and experience decay. Next, we have cracking. Cracking is defined as the formation of fissures ranging from less than 1.5 to 12 mm wide or greater in the structure, and it is caused by a variety of factors, including structure of load, the use of a really hard mortar mix, or as a hot mixture. And next, we have contour scanning. Contour scanning is scanning of the surface or the crust of the limestone. It is the result of the pores of the limestone being blocked by calcium sulfate and induced internal stress inside the thin layer of the stone. And lastly, we have crumbling. Crumbling is caused by the inherentness in the limestone or by the gradual breakdown of the binder or other external structures that can affect the strength and durability of limestone, such as frost attack, rising depth, weathering, and many more. So that's all for me. Now let's move on to the development.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So let's proceed for the last part, which is methodology. So there was some methodology approaches that we already selected, and there was a qualitative method and quantitative method, followed by primary and also secondary data. For the first method, which is qualitative method. So qualitative method, basically a technique was adopted as a part of the study procedure. The old building in Malacca had to be shortlisted first so that information could be gathered. As an example, consider the location and age of ancient structure. So this research focused on structural building defect. A structural defect is defined as a physical damage to the building stipulated load-bearing element caused by the failure of load-bearing elements that affect their load-bearing function to the point when the building becomes unsafe. So for example, the orientation at the roof structure. So quantitative method also became one of the technique that was adopted to study this building, which is we also can know the age of the building when the building also established. An example, consider the location and the age of ancient structure. Primary data is a typical trustworthy, real and objective, since it was gathered with the intention of addressing a specific study subject. Primary data is seldom gathered due to high cost of deployment. So the method being used for this research was a first-hand observation, which is site visit to find visual defect in old limestone building at Malacca. So secondary data was an information that has already been gathered by someone else but has been made available for others to use. Secondary data is extensively distributed, and the method that being used was meta-analysis of literature to investigate the characteristic of limestone in building construction.